Many will agree that Bigfoot is the most famous of all the cryptids. This mysterious giant humanoid has been in the mainstream media for the last few decades, and although science is firm on their belief that the creature is a hoax, many interesting reports have surfaced over the years. These creatures always follow a similar theme, looking like a giant ape-like human and being very tall. Depending on who you talk to depends on the creature's height, but most can agree that Bigfoot's average height is between 7 and 10 feet tall. At the height of the Bigfoot craze, various expeditions were put together by various companies from across the world. It was almost like a battle of who could capture the best Bigfoot evidence first. Kind of similar to the space race, but instead of landing on the moon, this involved a mythical creature that had allegedly been witnessed for thousands of years. All over the planet, people have been reporting these creatures, with some finding some giant footprints, to a few being able to photograph the creature. The most interesting stories though comes from those people who have had first-hand experience with the creature. One of the issues people have though is that the large majority of these stories have no evidence, but every so often a story will be told that has evidence to back it up. In the last few days, these fascinating images have been making the rounds online. I was able to speak to the person who captured the images, and he's allowed me to share his story. Mr. Yeoman said the following about the event. Here's the story with my photos. My wife and I bought 11 acres of land in Bailey, Colorado. We built a foundation of cinder block that is 6 feet above the ground. The land is mostly hard-packed dirt and large rock, which I shared a video of when we bought it. After we moved a modular home there, we lived off and on there for 2 years. This was while we got ready for permanent residency. In August 2017, we were finishing off the interior of the back of the house and I came into the living room and caught a whiff of a very harsh odour in the room. It smelled like rotting animal flesh, vomit and excrement. I caught a glimpse of something moving outside the window from the corner of my eye. We have had bears visit pretty regular, but they tried to get under the house, not in it. But when I saw the figure by the window, I thought it was a bear, and that it had somehow climbed up the window. I take a lot of wildlife pictures because they literally come up to the outside of it. This includes animals such as mule deer, elk and bears. However, I haven't seen any mountain lion and other small game. I've quite a few cars all over my property, but they aren't mine, but they hang out there a lot. Going back to the creature, I saw the top of the head and it caught my attention. It moved closer and I could see that its eyes were huge. This scared me because bear eyes aren't that large or far apart. I always have a camera handy to get a good shot of the elk when they come close to the house. When I realised it wasn't a bear, fear struck me. I used a cheap Kodak Sport digital camera for taking pictures, and for the most part it takes fast action pictures and videos. It was on the end of the table next to my recliner, approximately 6 feet from the window. When I pointed it at the window, it stopped swaying and closed its eyes as if it was a child. It reminded me of when children do that thing, you can't see me if my eyes are closed. I was shaking a lot and trying to video at the same time. I moved back a step and it slowly moved from one side of the window to the other. It was seriously around a 10-minute video, but it was on a small card which had to be downloaded onto my computer. It didn't make any attempt to enter the house or run away. Around 8 minutes in, my wife came into the room and asked what I was doing. I told her there's something outside and it wasn't no bear. When she looked over my shoulder, she screamed, "What is that thing?" and ran back into the bedroom. I stopped the video, went to the closet and grabbed my .40 cal off the shelf. When I turned back around, it was moving away from the window. I wasn't going to shoot at it unless it tried to get in, which it didn't do. I went to my wife, who was freaking out, and tried to answer her bombardment of questions, and tried to reassure her that everything was okay. She called the sheriff's department and they sent 3 deputies to check out the property. Their conclusion was that it was most likely a bear or other wildlife. This was, however, until I showed them the playback. When they reviewed it, 2 of the 3 were impressed, and the 3rd just said it was a bear. The rest of the night was uneventful and peaceful other than my wife panicking. She ended up having my daughter and her husband come and get her, and they took her to Golden for a couple of days. I downloaded this video onto my computer at my mother's house. This was because she had internet access and I didn't. Long story short, my mother's house burnt down in a fire we had out there last year. We have seen it at a distance every now and then in the darkness by the firelight. Not the body but the eye shine, and that's pretty creepy too. But I haven't had any instance of a destructive nature, so I decided just to be cautious when I'm walking my property. I do carry my 40 cal always outside. This is just in case, but I haven't had to pull it from my holster. I see signs where he's broke branches on trees that I can't reach on a 6-foot ladder, and occasionally he'll move things around. Most signs we see were after we left and came back home. There's the story behind the photos. I hope people can find something in there to benefit them if they're dealing with one too. These pictures were taken from the video to show the best shots because I was shaking like hell. Many people came forward and said that they believe what Mr. Yeoman saw, and even told of similar encounters. Many people on Bigfoot forums have said that they are by far the best Bigfoot photographs they have seen, and that they believe his story to be genuine. It doesn't sound like he's trying to convince anyone about what happened, but rather just putting his encounter out there for others to hear. There are many areas stretching across North America that are often referred to as being hotspots for seeing a Bigfoot. These locations have been named by the Bigfoot community, and every year people have come forward with their own sightings of the creature. According to many Bigfoot experts, these concentrated areas get the highest amount of reports of a Sasquatch creature, and can span over the course of several years with recurring sightings of the creature. Interestingly, researchers have said that these creatures don't just go by the name of Bigfoot, and there's actually different species of these large humanoids that roam our planet. One of them goes by the name of the Grassman, and these creatures are usually seen close to Ohio. Often encountered in the woods of this region is that of a cryptid that's commonly been referred to by the locals as the Grassman monster. The Grassman monster, also known as the Orange-Eyed, is a massively large and hairy man-like creature that many have compared to that of Sasquatch sightings. Unlike many of the other Bigfoot sightings all across the world, it appears that the Grassman cryptid is far more dangerous, and has a number of strange behaviours that make it unique to all other Sasquatch creatures. Many that have claimed to have stumbled across the beast while hiking through the forest claim the Grassman is capable of constructing small huts and areas for living, a unique behaviour that has never been reported surrounding that of the Sasquatch species. It's because of this strange behaviour that many report the creature is not that of a Sasquatch, and of a different cryptid entirely. The first well-reported sighting of the Grassman monster happened back in 1978. This was when several kids ran into their home and alerted their grandparents that a hairy man was digging through a rubbish pit. When the grandparents went to investigate what was being claimed, they saw the large Grassman as he was digging through rubbish looking for food. However, the large creature soon ran away after being spotted by the adults. As research continued in the area surrounding that of the Grassman, people began to report spotting a large ape-like creature living in huts made of tall grass, only to come back to the site later to find it completely abandoned, with the creature moving to new areas after being spotted. One person said the following about the photographs. "These photos look exactly like what I saw while camping with my friends. When I first looked at the photographs, it sent shivers down my spine. The resemblance to the creature I saw is uncanny. I immediately showed my friends this photograph and they began to freak out." Our encounter happened back in 2017 while camping in Pennsylvania. We planned to stay for a day or two as we hadn't seen each other for a while. We set up camp and started to get a fire going. While it was getting dark, we started to talk about more out there topics, and this led on to us each giving details about the mysterious things we'd seen during our lives. I hadn't seen anything strange myself, but my friends had experienced some weird stuff during their lives. While one of my friends was halfway through their story, we could hear these strange noises coming from the woods. If I had to describe, I would say it sounded like a low grunting sound. I told the group that it was most likely some type of wildlife. This noise continued, but we wasn't worried as it sounded like it was quite far away. Around 15 minutes later, after those noises started, they completely stopped. However, after a few minutes, a loud screech could be heard coming from behind our camp. This noise was really loud and it made us all jump. I'd never heard anything like this before, and judging by my friends' faces, neither had they. We all froze in place, hoping that whatever had just made those noises wouldn't do it again. We could hear some noises coming from behind the woods, so one of my friends grabbed their torch and shined it in the direction of the noises. This was when we got a sight of the creature making the loud noises, and it was something that none of us had seen before. The only way I can describe it is that it looked like a giant hairy ape-like human. After we shone the light in the direction of the humanoid, it soon ran off. After this, we all jumped in the car, leaving behind the majority of our belongings. Whatever we'd encountered left a mark on all of us. This wasn't something we were laughing about. It had a lasting effect on all of us, to the point where I didn't want to leave the house for several months. I was genuinely scared by whatever this creature was. I still have its image in my mind. I don't think it's something that I'm going to forget anytime soon. As of right now, I've never seen anything similar. This is because I won't venture near any woodland areas. I think that these creatures do exist, and I'm the first to admit that before my sighting I never believed they existed. I thought they were made up by people, but now I've seen one with my own eyes, it's completely changed my view on them. I have no idea why it didn't attack us, as this thing was massive. If I had to guess, I would say it was easily over 7 feet in height. It possessed a very wide frame and had long brown hair. As of today, I think that what I witnessed was a Bigfoot. So my question to you guys is, what do you make of these mysterious photographs? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.